Hello everyone, it's Dr. Williams here. I'm going to talk to you today about how to plan for your exam revision. First thing to recognise is why you should bother planning for your revision. Well, most importantly, it does help to relieve stress. The exam period can be quite a stressful time for students. Teachers recognise this, parents recognise this, and students recognise this. So actually, planning for your revision can relieve the stress of the exams. If you go into your exams feeling prepared, then you're going to be less stressed. So it's a really important factor of why we're going to do some revision planning. You also need to make sure that you're giving all of your subjects the time and attention they need to be successful in them. If you neglect some of them because maybe you don't like them as much as others, then you're not going to feel as confident going into that exam. And we want you to feel confident and we want you to feel successful when you get your exam results. So make sure that you're giving your exam classes enough time and attention with your revision. And we also want you to think now about having some effective revision strategies. For many of you, your year 10 exams will be the first of many exams to come. If you've got effective revision strategies, that's going to save you time. You're going to learn more about yourself in the process so that any revision strategies that you learn now will actually be useful as you go into the future. And also, if you have an effective revision plan, you'll still have time to do the things that you enjoy. It's really important that during exam times, the exams don't take over your life, that you still go out and see friends and all of those things that you like to do. So, how do we do it? I'm not going to read through this slide now. We'll just look at each of these in turn. So, the first step to planning your revision is to list your examination subjects and their exam boards. Now, I'm a science teacher, so I know that the science that you're going to be doing is the exam board AQA. Some of you are doing the trilogy, which is the combined sciences. Some of you are doing the triple sciences. You'll all do physics, biology, and chemistry. But the exam board that you're going to look at is AQA. It's really important that you know that because when you're looking for revision resources, they will be specific to certain exam boards. So it is important that you recognise which subject you're doing and which exam board. For English, you're also doing AQA. But if you come to an exam subject and you don't know what the exam board is, there is a quick way of finding out. So, for example, I wasn't sure about the history exam board. So I went on the Fulford School website and clicked on curriculum. And then I clicked on where it said department list. And you can see a list of all of the departments that we have at Fulford. And then when you click on that department, for example, history, and go to Key Stage 4, then you will see at some point on that page, it will say the exam board that they use. So here it says, at Key Stage 4, students are entered for AQA GCSE history, and there is actually a link below to the specification. The specification is just really information about what you are learning in your subject for that GCSE. So all of these subjects have the specification links on there, and they are a really useful point to go and look to find out exactly what you need to know. So for example, if you're not sure about differences between foundation and higher, the specification is a really good place to start to find out what you need to know for each of those. Once you've got your list of exam boards there and sort of extra notes if you need them, then you can start to think about the next step. So the next step is, what do you need to know for the exam coming up? So here you need to use your exam timetable, which it might say paper 1 or paper 2 or whatever it says on it. And then your subject information. Hopefully you're going to get that from your teachers in your lessons, or maybe a class charts announcement from that subject area. So you know which topics you need to study. So for example, if you're doing a physics paper 1, it's topics P1 to P4. So then you know actually that you'll need to learn the P1 energy topic and all of those different topics up to P4. And the same for biology and the chemistry. So for each subject area, be clear on which topics you're going to need to study. Once you've got all of those sorted out, you can then find your resources. So some of you will have bought revision guides. You can buy revision guides for all of these different subject areas. You may have already made some of your own revision cards, as you can see some here. Get them together, find where you've put them, sort them out. There are commercial revision flashcards that you can buy as well. There's Quizlet. A lot of my year 11 and 13 like to use online flashcards, Quizlet, and I've been making some for some of my classes. You're more than welcome to join my class, which has some quizzes on for the science assessments. There's also commercial websites like Physics and Maths Tutor and Cognito. So both of those websites are really useful with videos, with past papers, with flashcards as well. So there's going to be loads and loads of websites out there. You can ask your teachers if they know of any for different subject areas and any recommendations that they might have to help you as well. So once you've got all your revision resources ready, you're ready to actually start making your timetable. Now, you can do this a number of different ways again. You can do that online. If you like to do things online on a computer, you can type in a revision timetable online. You can order these sort of booklets or planners or whiteboards, which has a revision week on them. And that's already done for you. You just tear off each page each week. You can download templates. Here's one. And you can just print that off and fill that in by hand, or you can actually make your own. So this is just simple folded bits of paper into columns and then actually with what they're going to do written on them. So all of these strategies are absolutely fine. Again, find the one that works for you. When you've got your timetable, then you can start to fill it in. So first of all, you do this weekly. You add your commitments for that week. So if it's a school week, you'll put school in. That's time when you can't revise, when you're actually in your lessons. Then you put your activities that you do outside of school in. We don't want you missing activities to revise. So say, for example, you play football, you have training on a Wednesday and matches on a Saturday, you'd put that in. If you play an instrument, you might have violin lesson or whatever, and orchestra at some point that week, you put those in. So fill that in with your extracurricular commitments. Once you've got that, you can then work around these times to start to factor in when you're going to revise. So for example, there is time on a Monday between sort of 6:30 and 8 where you can do some physics revision. And Tuesday, you might want to do a bit of biology, but you don't want to do that all evening. So maybe you want to do a bit of history as well. And Thursday, chemistry and English. And then maybe Saturday afternoons, you're happy to do a bit of PE. And Sunday mornings, maths, and maybe even a Sunday evening, do some Spanish. So you'll try to fill in a variety of different subject areas across the week where you're going to devote a few hours to each one. Once you've got that, you can also remember that you've got the time in your form periods as well, where you can use that as study time. So maybe you want to think about sort of topping up in some areas. So for example, on a Monday, I could bring in something to do with chemistry to do in form time, and Thursday I could do the same. When you've got that planned out, you need to think about what you're going to do in that hour or so that you've planned for that subject area. So, for example, if you know your topics for physics for this week, I might want to do P1, and biology, I might want to B1, sorry. And then in those hours that you've got with that topic, what are you going to do then? So for biology, I might have made some flashcards. I could use those flashcards. I could see what I'm getting wrong, and then maybe I could practice some exam questions on that particular topic, for example, osmosis. And you could keep doing that for all your different subjects and have an idea of what the activity is that you're going to do. And thinking long term as well. So, for example, in history, if you've got no flashcards or anything on the topics that you're studying, then maybe you have to make some. But then the week after, you could use those flashcards to repeat and help you retrieve that information. When you've got a map, it might be that you think, I've not got enough time for certain subjects, and you might need to tweak it and add to it. But I would recommend at this point that you factor in a little bit of time to reward yourself and make sure that you're stopping at 8 p.m. That isn't encroaching on your sleep and things like that. And maybe you might want to plan some nice activities. So go to the cinema on Friday night or something like that. Hopefully that's helped you to think about how to plan your revision. You need to make sure the final point that you do stick to it. You have to stick to it to a certain extent, but also be willing to be flexible. Now, if you do this weekly, the flexibility can come with the next week's revision plan. But for example, if you're doing biology and you're thinking, oh, yeah, this is really helping them and I'm going along great with it, you can move that little bit of history revision to another time, and just be flexible around what topics you're studying when. So please try and stick to it, but be flexible, be willing to accommodate changes. And you need to do this every week. And each week you've got to think of your next topic or area of study that you're going to do. You can swap it around. So maybe you want to do your maths on a Monday instead. You can factor in different activities. Maybe there's a match you want to watch on television on Saturday or things like that. Maybe you don't feel very well. Maybe you need to have a day off. So, for example, on Saturday afternoon, you might not feel so good, so you might want to have a rest. So just please factor all these different things in. Try your best to stick to it, but it's not set in stone. And when the exam period comes, when you're doing this revision, it's really important that you're mentally and physically prepared to help keep you healthy. So being physically prepared actually means having the necessary equipment. For exams, you need a clear pencil case. You have to have 2 black pens. It's ideal to have 2 pencils as well, and a sharpener and a rubber and a ruler. So as a minimum requirement for all of your exams, that is what you need. You will also need calculators and subject specialist equipment as well. So get it all together, get yourself physically prepared. Also, think about your mental preparation. You will need to persevere and get on with it and be determined and show that determination. So you need to make sure that you are doing all of these things as best you can. And actually, you need to take that responsibility on yourself. It's no good a parent or a teacher telling you should be revising. You've got to now address that yourself and start to take your personal responsibility for your own success. And in doing that, taking responsibility means looking after yourself. Make sure you're getting sleep. Teenagers should get between 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. That doesn't include lying in bed on your phones. Switch your phone off. Make sure that you're trying to get the minimum of 8 hours sleep a night. That is when your brain actually does a lot of the learning. So any learning taking place in that day will be organised in your brain while you're asleep. So it's just as important as sitting in front of some flashcards. Also, eat healthily, lots of fruit and vegetables, look after yourself, make sure you're getting the nutrients that you need to keep well. Take plenty of exercise, go out for walks, maybe get some music on, just really make sure you're having frequent breaks so you're not sat still all the time, so that the blood flow can go around your body and get your brain awakened again. So make sure you're doing plenty of exercise as well. And most importantly, I think talk to your friends. They're going through the same thing. Talk to your parents. They're there to support you. Talk to your teachers. Talk to anybody else who cares and is responsible for your well-being. So grandparents, whoever you find it useful to talk to about maybe any stresses or maybe any strategies. Us teachers love to tell you about different strategies you can use to help your revision. So please come and ask us questions. But really, really take the time to check in on people and talk to people about this kind of challenging time that's coming up. And last of all, good luck. However, I don't think it's actually luck you need. So we've got to have a quote. In my experience, there's no such thing as luck. That came from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I totally agree with him on that. You don't need luck. You just need to get on with it. And actually, if you get on with it, you can be proud of whatever you achieve in any exam, because you can be proud that you've done your best. Okay, good luck though, and take care.